Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to learn about a new type of equation form. So far we've learned about slope-intercept form and standard form, and today we're going to add in point-slope form. Some updates and announcements. Don't forget that all assignments can still be submitted. If you haven't done so already, go back and complete any missing assignments from quarter 3 or from the e-learning quarter. At this point, everybody needs to be using their Riverside email address. That email is firstname.lastname@riversidehighschool.org. This makes it much easier for you to access materials and allows me to contact you reliably if necessary. If you're not using that email and don't know how, email me from a different email address and I'll help you get that set up. From now on, the Google Forms are going to require you to use your Riverside email address. I updated this last time, but I wanted to remind you that IP will now be graded using the following procedure. IP will be graded for correctness, not completion. Remember, you can always attend office hours and redo any IP that you aren't happy with. All IP is now going to be worth 10 points in the gradebook. For example, if you get 27 out of 35 possible points on your IP on the Google form, here's what I'll do. I'll divide 27 by 35, and that gives us 0.771. I'll move the decimal place 1 point to the right and round, and that way your grade becomes 7.7 out of 10 in the gradebook. That way you can more easily see how you're doing. A 9 and above is an A, an 8 is a B, a 7 is a C, and anything below that is an NG and should be redone. Don't forget that office hours are held Monday through Thursday from 11 to 12. The link is at the top of the Haiku page. If you need more one-on-one help, email me and I'm happy to meet with you during the week. Shout out to Kieran Ward for emailing to request a one-on-one office hour so that he could get help with his work. As soon as we got done with the office hour, Kieran went to work and submitted 3 assignments. You got any struggles or celebrations this week? For the most part, I've been enjoying being at home with my dogs and my husband. I've been reading a lot, playing video games, and getting outside a lot. My struggle this week is it has now been 1 month since I've seen any of my family, friends, or students, and I miss all of you so much. I know we're doing the right thing staying home and safe, but it's difficult. In struggles and celebrations today, tell me who you miss the most right now. Before we start, remember that you should be completing these lessons in order. If you have not yet done previous e-learning assignments, you need to go back and do those first. You always need to watch the video before you complete the assignment. If you're just guessing, that's not going to work for you. Take notes to refer to while you complete your assignment. Do you have paper and pencil out now? If not, pause the video and get your materials. When the video says to pause and try the problems on your own, you need to do that. That's how our brain learns. You need to practice these on your own, and that way you can catch your mistakes before you get to the IP. Unhappy with your grade after you submit your assignment? Email Mrs. McNeely for help, and we can help you resubmit for a better grade. Remember, assignments are now graded on correctness, not completion. IDK or leaving blanks gets you a 0, and getting answers wrong also gets points marked off. Some students are trying to do the IP without watching the video first. This is not a good idea. To help encourage you to watch the videos for each lesson, I will now be including a code word that I will ask you about on your IP. It will be said out loud, so you must listen and watch the video to find it. Write it down on your note-taking paper so that you have it ready for this weekend. My husband and I decided to have a fire in our fire pit. It was so nice to sit outside. We cooked hot dogs over the fire. Today's code word is going to be fire pit. Write it down now. Be ready to enter it into the IP. I won't count it wrong if you spell it wrong. I won't count it wrong if you do 2 words instead of 1. But you need to have that word in your IP. From now on, this will get more difficult to find. Start with some review. We want to be able to understand how to write equations in slope-intercept form. Remember that M stands for your slope and V stands for your y-intercept. You can find your slope by looking for keywords like each, per, and every. Your y-intercept is a flat rate or a beginning amount. Sometimes it's a starting fee. Let's see if you can apply slope-intercept form. This is a review from our last few. We're going to start with some review today. Go ahead and pause the video and try these on your own. If you want to rent a Lime scooter downtown, there is a $1 fee to unlock the scooter and a fee of 25 cents per minute. Go ahead and pause this now and try these. Welcome back. You should have been looking for keywords to identify your slope and to identify your y-intercept. For the slope, I'm looking for words like per, each, and every. So I know in this case, my slope is 0.25. I don't need the dollar sign if I'm going to put this into an equation. It's just in the way there. The y-intercept is a starting fee, so I see the $1 fee, so my y-intercept should have been 1. When I substitute that into my equation, I'm always putting my slope with my x and my y-intercept as the constant by itself. We want to think about what our x variable stands for. Remember, it was 25 cents per what? Well, it was 25 cents per minute, so x is our number of minutes that we're going to rent the scooter. Remember, we said last time our y was usually a total. We're adding up money. This is dollars plus dollars. This is our total cost for the scooter. Good job. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try these two on your own. Same problem. I want you to use your equation that we wrote. Remember, it was 0.25x plus 1 is equal to y. Use that for both of these equations. Go ahead and pause the video and try these on your own now. Welcome back. You should have noticed that this said 12 minutes. Well, we already said x stands for our minutes. So we're substituting in y equals 0.25 times 12 plus 1. 0.25 times 12 becomes 3, so it's going to cost us $4 to rent the scooter for 12 minutes. Number 4 is different because they're giving us our total cost. Our total cost is not our x. Remember, we said y was our total cost. So you should be substituting the 20 in for the y. So that's 20 equals 0.25x plus 1. Now I have to solve this by isolating x. Subtract 1 from each side, so I get 19 equals 0.25x. Divide both sides by 0.25, and I get x equals 19 divided by 0.25, which is 76 minutes even. Good job. Let's do some review on writing equations in standard form. Remember, standard form looks like this. ax plus by equals c. A, B, and C stand for integers, which are positive or negative whole numbers. Your starting number must be positive, and you cannot have any fractions or decimals. Let's do some review on these now. I want you to pause the video and try to rewrite these equations in standard form. If you've not done the lesson on standard form, you should go back and do that now before you continue. Welcome back. You should have remembered that you want your ax and your by to be on your same side of your equal sign. So I noticed that the y is on the left like it should be, but the x is not. It's already a negative. The opposite of a negative is a positive, so we're going to add 3x to each side. 3x and y are not like terms, so I'm just going to write them next to each other. 3x plus y. Those cancel out, and it equals negative 4. If you want to, you can put the 1 there to represent your b, but you don't have to as long as you have the 3x and the y equal to the constant. That's standard form. This equation was written in slope-intercept form. I want to get rid of the fraction. Remember, we get rid of the fraction by multiplying by our common denominator. In this case, our only denominator is 5. I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. 5 times y is equal to 5 times 2/5 x plus 5 times 3. That just stays 5y. But this one, 5 divided by 5 becomes 1, and 1 times 2 is 2x. 5 plus 3 becomes 15. We're not done. Remember, we need our x and our y to be on the same side, so we're going to subtract a 2x from each side to move the 2x. I get negative 2x plus 5y equals 15. This looks like it should be in standard form, but remember, a should be positive. In order to get a to be positive, I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. So I get 2x minus 5y equals negative 15. Dividing by negative 1 just changes the sign of everything. It's okay to have your b and your c be negative as long as your a is positive. All right, let's get into the new stuff. Today we're going to learn about something called point-slope form. Point-slope form looks like this. There are pieces here that you should recognize. Notice that we still have an x and a y in our equation. We still have a slope that's in front of the x, but we have this new x1 and y1. x1 and y1 represent some point. So remember, we've talked about that mathematicians sometimes aren't very creative when it comes to naming their equations. Why do you think this is called point-slope form? Well, we use it when we're given a point and the slope. If we're given a point and the slope, we can't substitute straight into slope-intercept form because I don't know the y-intercept. But if I was given a point, I could put it in for that x1 and y1. Let's do some practice just on substituting. Here's a reminder of your equation at the top that we're going to be using. You don't have to have this memorized, but you just need to be able to use it. What you're being given here is the slope and a point. What this is your x1 and your y1. Filling in the blanks will look the same every time. Sorry, that shouldn't be an equal sign. should be y minus some blank equal to some slope times x minus some blank. The y value from your point always goes here, the slope always goes here, and the x value from your point always goes there. And that's point-slope form. Remember, this will be much easier if you'll label your x1 and your y1 just like when we were finding slope. Again, it's the same blanks that you're filling in every time. Y minus the y value, so that's your 1. The slope always goes in front of your parentheses, and the x value goes with the x. Pause the video and try this one on your own. You should have started by labeling your x1 and your y1, and then substitute into the blanks. That becomes y minus 8 because y1 is 8, the slope is 7, and the x1 is 2. And that's it. Let's try a few more. If you feel ready, go ahead and pause this and do all 3 on your own. Otherwise, you can wait until we get to the third one. Again, it's the same blanks every time. Be sure to label your x1 and your y1. You're being given a point and the slope. y1 is 6, slope is -2, the y is -1. I noticed that I've got this weird minus and negative here. If you remember in class, when we have that, we do keep, change, change. So that's actually the same thing as -2 times x plus 1. Either answer is correct there. You can leave it as minus and negative if you want, but you're more likely to make mistakes. Remember, this is your x1, this is your y1, so we substitute into our blanks. Y minus -2 equals -1 times x minus -3. Remember, there are minuses in the equation already, and then when the x and the y are negative, now there's 2 negatives. Remember, we can do keep, change, change, so this actually becomes y plus 2. Keep, change, change, and so that actually becomes x plus 3. Pause the video and try this one on your own. Welcome back. You should have substituted into your blanks. This is your x1, this is your y1. y1 is 1, the slope is -4. Your x1 is your -5. Here we have 2 negatives together, so we do keep, change, change. So we have y minus 1 equals -4 times x plus 5. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and substitute in. Remember, this is your x1, this is your y1. So we have y minus 4 equals 2/3 times x minus -1. Remember, we can do keep, change, change. For this next one, remember it's the same blanks that you're filling in every time you're given a point and a slope. It's y minus -2 equals 1/2 times x minus 3. Keep, change, change. Again, this is your x1, this is your y1. So we have y minus -1 equals 4/5 times x minus 5. Don't forget to do keep, change, change. We're going to go ahead and stop there, and you're going to go on to video number 2, which can be found on the Haiku page. See you in a few.